Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups, and it's a great show for you. A great breakup story that's been sent in to writemac.com, and I'm going to unpack it on the show today. My ex broke up with my ex. I just titled that mistakenly. She hated my mom. So, have you ever had a situation where your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, or wife, you didn't like the mom? You didn't get along with the mom? Interesting. Beyond interesting. It's a big problem. And a lot of times when you're just in a beginning of a relationship, you're like, yeah, I kind of don't like the mom. They're kind of controlling, or they're kind of this. Well, stay tuned. The longer you're together, the more the mom will be a part of your life. And correct me if I'm wrong. If they treat their daughter or their son that way, and you become their son-in-law or daughter-in-law, they're probably going to treat you similarly. And some people go, oh yeah, I kind of noticed it in the beginning, because people come to me later on, they're like, oh my God, I couldn't believe what the mom did or the dad did. It's going to continue, because parents, grandparents, uncles, and aunts, they're a good 20 years older generally, and they're not going to take advice from you, or they're not going to change who they are for you. So a lot of times people think to themselves, what's up, Philip? They think to themselves, well, you know, this parent did this and they did that and they shouldn't do this. It's like, yeah, but they're not going to change. The parent's not going to change who they are. And the child, or the son or daughter, I should say, because it's not a child when they're in their 20s or your 30s, their relationship with their parent is unique. And you think, well, that's not what I do with my parents, or that's not my relationship. Yeah, it isn't. So it's a whole nother set of rules, a whole nother set of values. And what happens to people, what's up, Matt A? What happens to people is they somehow believe that well, the relationship with their mom's kind of one of those things that's not good. Yesterday, when I unpacked a story, the guy mentioned, I don't know if you remember this, Al, the guy mentioned, oh, you know, one of the other things is he mentioned some political views, Black Lives Matters, and that he was black, and that he felt like his girlfriend's family wasn't understanding, or wouldn't be understanding. He was uncomfortable with their viewpoint on some things. I'm going to say politically, but I don't know if BLM would be considered politics to everyone. So what I said to that was, that's going to be an issue. That's not something you can just brush to the side and go, oh, you know, we'll deal with that later. When it comes to politics, religion, and the parents have a, polarized opposite view than you do, even if your partner goes, yeah, I don't really agree with my parents, it's still going to be a problem if they're close to their parents. You're not going to just fix that. Matt A, is this Matt A from Canada? Just to get a check, because I haven't heard from you for a while. I hope you're well. So, getting into this today, please put in the comments down below, or mention in live stream if you've ever had a relationship where you had an ill relationship with the in-laws or parents. Aleph, have you ever had this happen in all your...
About the political point of view, right?
No, not politics. I'm saying that you've had a few girlfriends. Have you ever had any issues with their parents, or did the parents just never even meet you anyways?
No, like, I don't have any problem about that, except like the religion thing that some of my ex-girlfriend, like, oh, what kind of religion you had, like that does it.
Yeah, but did you meet the parents, and the parents have an issue with you? You didn't get that far yet, huh?
Yeah, nope.
Yeah. Oh, it is Matty A. Good to hear from you, bud. We'll have to talk soon, man, and get an update. Matt and me have done some live coaching in the past. One of my favorites. Really good people. You bet. I'm good. Well, I'm happy to hear you're good, man. So, yeah, getting into it, I've seen this come up again and again after the breakup. They'll just kind of make it like kind of an afterthought. Well, you know, like the mom never liked me, or I didn't get along with the mom, or they didn't like it. It's an issue in reflection or in relation, reflection, in relation to how close you are to your parents or they are to their parents. So I had another client, this was years back. This was a story that was sent in, and I always remember this one. What's up, Rob? And they basically, the guy said that they had a great relationship. Everything was wonderful. They got along well, which is okay, until it isn't, right? And he said that she came from a really wealthy family. They lived in Hong Kong. He was an expat, which if you don't know what an expat means, it means someone from somewhere else than the country they're in. This is used a lot in Asia. So he said he was living over there. He had a construction company or job of some sort. I forgot what it was. And he said he made pretty good money to average money. And her family was extremely wealthy, which Hong Kong's one of those places. There's a lot of people that are quite wealthy there. I mean, a lot of people there was a lot of money made there, I believe, in the 80s and the 90s. And there's a lot of millionaires there. So he said that I believe she was a musician of some sort, and a very good one, that didn't have to make money. Mm-hmm. So she was, let's just say she was a pianist, but I think it was something different. No, it was piano. She was a pianist, and she did solos and concerts. She didn't make any money because she wasn't famous at it, but her parents still took care of her, right? Because they liked her playing the piano. Cut a long story short, basically, the parents got to a point. She was 28. I think he was 34, because I have a good memory. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And the parents were like, look, this guy's not good enough for you. He doesn't make enough money. He's not going to be able to take care of you. And he enjoyed, the parents to his face liked him. But behind closed doors were like, you're not marrying this guy. You know, this guy will never be able to provide the lifestyle that you've had. And basically she broke up with him. She made up some petty reasons. You know, this is what people do sometimes. They will make small issues part of the breakup when really my parents don't want me to be with you, and I'm tired of my mom talking bad about you, and they've mentioned that they would cut me off if I married you. I think that was the case with this. Which, if someone's being taken care of, their job is to become a professional son or daughter. And there's a lot of danger in that. Because I've had other clients too, like, well, her parents are rich or his parents are rich. And what happens is you get used to that safety net. You get used to pleasing your parents, and then the parents go, oh, I'm not going to give you the money this month because you didn't do what I wanted you to do. And so this seems like one of those things in the relationship, like, oh, it's kind of good that the parents have money, but really the parents have more power in suggesting what they do with their life, right? So the story today isn't quite as deep with the money issue, but it is an issue with a mom. And me being someone that's always had a close relationship with my mom, by the way, not everyone's close with their parents for various reasons. And here's where people get it wrong a lot of times. A lot of times if you're in a relationship with someone and you have a good relationship with your mom and they don't have a good relationship with their mom, they will get a bit jealous, they will get judgmental, and they will create vices between you and your mom, because to them, that's not how the mother-son relationship is supposed to be, because to them, the mother-daughter relationship was so bad, people want you to feel what they feel. And they feel like anything your mom does remotely negative or anything like that, well then, that's what they'll jump on and they'll cling to, and they'll attempt to sabotage your relationship with your mom. I've seen it before many times. All right, we got 6 on deck. I was hoping to get 10 before I started, but I think we'll just get right into it. So, story goes, Let me pull this up. Dun dun. Hey, coach. I just came across your work on YouTube, and your channel is underrated. I'll just say that. Here's my story. Well, I appreciate the kind words. I broke up with my ex 2 years ago, and then we got together about 6 months ago. So this is one of those cases where breakup to makeup. 2 years ago, so they had 18 months to see what it's like to be single, and they got back together. Good for you. $5. Thank you so kindly. Who'd that come? Shape your future. Well, thank you. We'll shape your future, my friend. Ryan Phil, what's up? Hi, Mac. I never got a chance to share my story with you, but I always come when I feel down. Thank you for sharing your experience and knowledge. Right on, shape your future. That's some kind words, my friend. I like the name, too. Let me get back to the thing. Got my attention because the color comes up when there's money, right? The turquoise color. I broke up with my ex 2 years ago, then we got back together about 6 months ago. The first relationship was about 2 years before we broke up because she had trouble dealing with my mother. Okay, so that's a direct problem that you can say, I know why we broke up. And there's a lot of clarity in that. It doesn't make you feel better. It doesn't make the breakup easier, but it does make you easier to understand. It gets rid of that cliffhanger in your head that you go like, why'd she break up with me? Okay, trouble dealing with your mother, crystal clear. My mother can be overbearing and controlling, so you know why. Good. But hey, man, she's my mom and I love her. I'm with you. If I was in a relationship with a woman, and I don't consider my mom overbearing or controlling, but if someone was like, actually I consider my mother to be a saint. I'm biased, but she's a pretty good woman. If someone was in my relationship with me and started speaking negative about my mom, I'm going to take my mom's side probably. More 99.9% of the time. So, but she's my mom and I love her, so I can relate, and she'll always come first. That's fine. You just drew a line in the sand, and I don't think that there's relationships where you have to make that decision who comes first. There's plenty of women out there that if they have a good relationship themselves with their mom, would value the idea that you have a good relationship with your mom, and you wouldn't have to say that. Do you understand what I mean? I don't know if you know Italian moms, but they're never wrong about anything. Well, I don't have any Italian in me, but I'll take your word for it. And I've seen the movie Goodfellas, and it seems like that's true.
Maybe we have to ask Carl at Nana Rooftop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe. We have a friend that's Italian. I believe his dad's Italian, though. His mom's from Ecuador, so which would be different. Yeah. He lived in Italy. But he would know. You're right, because he lived in Italy also. He writes, they also love to cook for you. Again, I love Italian food. And I've seen some movies where they portray the mother that way, but I wouldn't know directly. But that sounds loving, caring, and nice, and I like good food. So my ex would get upset that my mom influenced me too much and that I was a mama's boy because I ate dinner with my mom 3 nights a week. So here's where it changes from your mom's controlling and overbearing to let me put you down in a negative way and demean you to manipulate you into not seeing your mom as much. That's ill intentions. I don't like that. It's one thing to say, hey, I think your mom's a little controlling or takes up a lot of your time, or I'd like to see you more often. The real thing you're looking for a woman that's not this woman, that understands relationships with your mom and understands the fact that your mom's important to you and actually appreciates that about you.
Love me, love my mom.
But there's plenty of women out there that would be understanding of that.
Yep.
You're not going to probably change this one. And if I had to guess, I haven't got down to the end of the story, I'd bet some money on it. I'd bet some Bitcoin on it if I had it. That this woman probably has a bad relationship with her own mom. So Keep in mind, my mother lives down the street from me a couple blocks, and she's a widow. Pops passed away about 3 years ago. So I feel like she needs all the company she can get again. Again, I love my mom. You don't have to explain yourself. If you go to have dinner with your mom 3 nights a week, that's a privilege. I would love to have my mom live down the street and have dinner 3 nights a week. And the fact that you threw on top of it your mom's a widow, completely understandable. The fact that you're answering to someone about this and you're pleading your case is ridiculous because a lot of women would find this endearing. So I feel like she needs all the company she can get. So basically my ex told me that she wanted to move closer to downtown. This was 2 years ago, okay, and that I should be able to cut back on dinner with my mom to 1 to 2 nights a week. So this is basically maybe the point where you broke up first time. She said it was time for me to grow up a bit. See, there's a difference between, this is where it gets bad. There's a difference between saying, I want to move downtown, and because we move downtown, you probably won't be able to see your mom as much, to saying you need to grow up. I don't see how that correlates. That's taking a shot at the kneecaps to try to get your way. It's cheap and it's immature. She said it was time for me to grow up. Keep in mind, I'm currently 30 and have a job as a plumber where I make fairly good money and I'm able to pay all my own bills and still have some savings. Good for you. Plumber is actually a very important job in the world because this might sound funny, but we need to keep our toilets and our drains clean and all those other things. It's an important job. You always have work. Whenever I've had a plumber come over, they're always cool dudes too. I'm also working towards buying a piece of the company I work at now. Great. So I got some ambition. Again, you're pleading your case. You're answering to the, oh, I'm immature. This isn't a good relationship. She's a vet tech, basically a veterinarian nurse, and she also walks people's dogs as a side job. It's actually good money. I've heard about professional dog walkers. Don't laugh, but I've heard that. I know people in the Bay Area, in San Francisco Bay Area, that were making $40 an hour to walk dogs. That's a lot of money to walk dogs. I love dogs, so sometimes I'd go with her. We also shared a lab that we got as a puppy. Cool. One of my favorite dogs. When we broke up, I kept the dog since my place had a yard. Sounds reasonable. So fast forward to 6 months back when we started dating again. We ran into each other at a pet store where I buy my dog food. Well, isn't that a romantic comedy scene? She came up to me and gave me a big hug. Wasn't expecting that, but I liked it. She told me she missed me and invited me over for dinner that weekend. Sounds like a perfect reunited, and it feels so good. I went to her place, no expectations, but thought, okay, so let's see what happens. That's exactly how you want to go into that, because you had 18 months to lick your wounds and see what else is out there. I've dated plenty from dating apps over the last year, and nothing has really tickled my pickle. That's a great way to put it. And we always had incredible intimacy and a love for our dog. What great intimacy, and we love our dog. Wow, what a mix. She just seemed very judgmental about my mom and me. And let me just tell you this. That's an issue. That's an issue that's not going away. I don't think she's going to change on that. And looking back, I was a bit sensitive about her saying anything remotely negative about my mom. Let me correct you. She was saying things negative about you also, calling you a mama's boy and the fact that you need to grow up a bit. You need to have a backbone and stick up for yourself in those situations and not accept things like that, or else you will become that. So it's so powerful what we believe we are. So we had dinner. It went great. Rose petals and wine glasses, as you say. I woke up there the next day. She had a cup of coffee waiting for me. It was great, and we just flew a rocket to love space from there. I was still, great words, man. I was still visiting my mom regularly, but I told her I was open to moving downtown and would drop visits with mom to 2 times a week. So right away, you're going, hey, you know what? Now that we're together and we had great intimacy and it was outstanding, you got me a cup of coffee. I won't see my mom one time a week for you. Is that okay? I'm okay with that as long as you're not doing it just for her. You got to be doing it because you think mom's okay with 2 times a week, and I think 3 times a week is a little bit too much for me also. It's kind of overbearing. It can't be just for her. I was still visiting my mom regularly, but I told her I was open to moving downtown and would drop visits with my mom 2 times a week. She seemed proud of me in that moment. Wow, you're looking at your girlfriend and hoping that she's proud of you. That's kind of something that you would say about your mom. But then mom, within 1 week of me moving, became more needy and demanded I come 3 times a week. Of course she did. At this point, I told my girlfriend, look, how about I get mom an Uber to come over here 1 time a week, and then we can all have dinner together. Now, that sounds solution-based and reasonable. I don't know if mom's going to like that. I don't know if it's going to work out, but it's an alternative where maybe you're involving your girlfriend in on the dinner and you're adding something new to it. Bravo, kudos, good idea. Keep in mind, this is a discovery mission. That you don't know if it's going to work or not work. Mom agreed, but made some comments under her breath. Of course she did. So mom comes over. My girlfriend made some fish tacos, which I love, and my mom ate 1 bite and spit them out. She said she wasn't hungry anymore, and next time she'd bring the food to cook. Of course she did. I mean, your mom's your mom. She sounds a bit stubborn. She considers herself a good cook. Are you surprised that your Italian mom that primarily probably cooks Italian food didn't like fish tacos? Spitting them out is a bit disrespectful, but you know what? In my book, old people, when I say older people or your mom, they get a free pass. They get a free pass. They're not your peers. My girlfriend was crushed and told me that night that my mom needed to apologize to her. Well, your mom's not going to apologize to her unless she wants to. If you go to your mom and go, hey, you need to apologize to my girlfriend. From what you've told me about your mom, she's not going to do it. And I'm not sure. The only thing is spitting out the tacos was rude, but she did offer to cook. She did make an effort to go there. I mean, did she really think that someone that, I mean, if this happens repeatedly, then maybe there's an apology needed. But I think that putting your girlfriend in a place where your mom needs to bend the knee to her, not going to go over big. And it's not the way to build a relationship moving forward. So your girlfriend's not using a lot of emotional intelligence in this situation. Your girlfriend should be thinking, okay, I'm the bigger person. This is a widow that's lost her husband. She's very close to my boyfriend. How can I make a better connection with her? Not how can I get her to do what I want. So mom, my girlfriend was crushed, told me to apologize. I said, look, mom, my mom just won't do that. How about we respect her and just let her cook next time? Or maybe go out to an Italian restaurant that she'd like. So you gave her 2 alternatives, 2 solutions to the problem. And what I would add to this, he's saying, like, let's try that. Now, if the mom's disrespectful to her again, then maybe you need to have a private conversation with your mom. Say, hey, mom, we're making an effort here. This is my girlfriend. I've been with her for a while. Can you please ease up on the judgment on her? Can you make an effort, mom? Because the mom's not going to apologize. My girlfriend said I was spoiling her and that I haven't changed. See, this is another shot at your character. I said, I think we can overcome this, but you have to be a bit more understanding and patient with her. I agree. I also remind her that all relationships take sacrifice, but I'm not going to hurt my mom's feeling to keep you as my girlfriend. Again, you just put a line in the sand and said, this is something I won't do. She went off calling me a mama's boy and pussy willow. Oh, man. Again, this is going for the kneecaps. It's immature communication. It's hurtful. I erupted and left. It's been 2 weeks and we haven't spoken. I told her when she's ready to talk to call me. But under no circumstances will my mother be put down again. So you're basically saying mom comes first, which is what you said before. Secondly, you're saying, we could talk about this, but it's really not going to change. By the way, she has a horrible relationship with her mother, whom was a bad alcoholic and left her with her aunt at 15 years old. Ding, 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 ding. That's why. That's why. Call it jealousy, call it a misunderstanding, call it a difference in values based on life experience. That's why she's this way until she goes see a therapist and a coach and really unpacks that part of her life. Anyone she's with that has a good relationship with their mom, she's going to create problems for. Now, let's just think about this. What if she had a good relationship with her mom? What if her mom was an alcoholic? What if her mom took care of her? What if her mom was just a good to okay mom? I bet this problem doesn't even come up. So that's the root of the problem. You put that at the end of the story, it should have went at the beginning, because that's the problem. And by the way, if you told her that's the problem, she probably would erupt and she'd be sensitive and she'd say, "Oh, you don't understand what happened between me and my mom, and you never dealt with an alcoholic," and she's right. So in order for her to be the girlfriend you want her to be and have the relationship you want her to have with your mother, she needs to clear that up first. And I don't think you're going to be the one to be like, "Hey, I think this is the problem." So you'd think she'd appreciate my relationship with my mom. See, that's counterintuitive. You'd think she would, but in reality, people want you to see the world the way they see the world. That's just how it is. Here's the problem. I love this woman. We were good together. You just said, we are good together. How can one problem, the only problem, be unsolvable or non-negotiable? Well, it is solvable. She needs to clear up her ill feelings with her mom. She needs to come to the playing field and realize that you're making an effort by, having your mother over for dinner. She needs to give in a little bit. You just wrote, or non-negotiable. Don't older people deserve a free pass sometimes to get their way or be rude? I agree. I had a great grandmother that lived at my house from 85 to 86, 87 to like 94 years old. Grandma could say anything she wanted to me. I would never talk rude to my grandma. She was a good lady and everything like that, but sometimes, grandmas can be grandmas. Moms can be moms. I have a great relationship with my mom. Yes, they do get a free pass. In my book, that doesn't mean everyone agrees with you. You know why? Because not everyone had the same path of dealing with people older than them. I think everyone should respect people that are 10, 15 years older than them. And actually, living in Thailand for years, that's kind of cultural. Wouldn't you agree, Aleph? People that are older than you automatically respect them.
Yeah, that's how we treat them that way.
It's just cold. It's
just culture things.
If someone's 10 years older, you just wouldn't disrespect them.
Yeah.
Even if they're being rude or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do think that there is a line of how far someone can go, right? Like if your mom was being just over the top mean and rude and saying stuff about your girlfriend's appearance, then you might have to say, "Hey, Mom, this is just out of line." In that situation, if Mom's going to change, and you just got to keep things separate. So what should I do? You're not going to like this answer, but I'm going to tell you. Let this woman go, because you're never going to be able to enjoy the relationship you have with your mother without guilt. And I'm going to add in the manipulation of calling you a mama's boy and you haven't grown up and you're 30 years old. That's not going to help you as an individual, because then you're going to be thinking, is that true from the woman I love? Don't accept that shit. You got a good job. You take care of yourself. You see your mom 3 times a week. That's a fucking privilege. You have a good relationship with your mom. There's women out there. There's plenty of women out there that find that endearing, admirable, and they would even say, "Hey, I'll make an effort with your mom." Plenty. Now you're going to have to go through some healing. You're going to have to break up with this woman. You've already done it once and you were just fine. And guess what? She came back to you. Why? Because you're a catch. You were a good boyfriend. If someone comes back to you, hugging you at the pet shop, asking you over for dinner, and then you're back together, rose petals and wine glasses, that says something about who you were in the relationship. So it's not what you want to hear, probably, because you want to hear of some way to just, make her like your mom and all that other stuff. But if I were you, I would take your chances, move forward with some grace and some dignity, and look at embracing being single again. And yeah, the dating apps didn't work, this, that, and the other. But the reality is you're settling for someone that's going to affect a relationship with your mother, and you already said your mother comes first. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm completely fine with that. And if that's the case, if you sacrifice your relationship with your mother for your girlfriend, over a time, in 2 years, 3 years, when the intimacy sizzles down a little bit and she starts doing some other things to annoy you, you're going to be really angry with her. You're going to blame her for you giving in. It's called contempt. All right, we got 9 on deck, 1 like, 1 donation. Thank you very much. And I'm going to get into the live stream now because the story just ended. I got about 5 minutes. So, thanks again, Shape Your Future. I think the same, told him similar things. I wouldn't do it. Yes, this guy, yes, he is a guy with opinions. Oh, you guys are talking about something else. Eating 3 nights a week is not a mom's boy. I agree. I agree. There has been a reason. Okay, this was between you guys. Yes, get it. Well, that women come with kids, he's just accepted that. My boyfriend left me because of his mom, even though he was happy with me and wanted to spend his whole life with me. Even though we both belong to the same religion and same caste, I want him but back. Don't know how I can do. Well, Sawana Johnson, I would need to know more specifics of why he left because of his mom. See, this is one of those things where you give me kind of a general statement without details, and I can't really unpack it that way. Oh, Sabina and Rob have already asked some questions here. Okay. Rob writes, because of his mom, there's got to be more of the story here. I'm 20 and I'm in India. That explains some things. Is there a reason you don't want to send your story into writemac.com and then get a real take like this guy just did? See, Sawana Johnson, if you write out your full story like this individual just did, I spent about, I think, 25 minutes, 20 minutes unpacking the whole breakup. And what I mean, anyone on the live stream, would you agree that it seems useful and helpful to do it in this way where someone writes out the whole story, detail-based, and really get my take, as opposed to, yeah, she left me for my mom, or he left because of my mom. You got to take some time to write out your story because it's your interpretation of the details. And then I can give you a really good take. I can really give you my opinion. What's up, Roller Girl? I know caste issue is huge in India, but even same caste doesn't give any assurance. Just in my experience, there seems to be a lot of people from India that come on the live stream, and there's always issues with religion or parents not approving of them. And having some Indian clients before in the past, it's cultural. And so it's something that seems to be changing with the younger generation being a little bit less accepting of it. But if you're going to be a part of that value system and you're going to make it that you want to abide by those rules, well, then you're going to have to get your parents' approval. That's just the way it is in that culture. If you want to get away from that, then you're probably going to lose your parents' attention. There's a good documentary called Meeting the Patels, and it's an Indian family in America, and this guy goes through the problem of he has a white girlfriend or Caucasian girlfriend. He's Indian. He's actually a actor, and he's so scared that his parents won't approve of the marriage that he breaks up with a girlfriend that he's really in love with that's white, and the parents go on this mission to get him in with an Indian woman, and 2 years later, he finally goes back to the white woman, or a year later, and the parents end up accepting him. Eduardo Martinez, what's going on, my friend? How are you? No, she's younger, but don't know how much. Even though how much I grow, she doesn't like me. Even though I want him back, but still gave him the opportunity to make him think by himself what he wanted. Yeah, I've heard things like that happening in India. Some people seem to have very closed-mind opinions. I want him back because he was a good guy, and I loved to enjoy my time with him. And it was good, very memorable time. I don't know how I will get him back. Hope that sir will help me. The answer isn't to get them back at this point. It's for you to get clarity moving forward on what happened and why, so that you can accept the breakup. The first level, here's what's so counterintuitive. Accepting a breakup is absolutely attractive to your ex because they're kind of caught off guard. Right? They're caught off guard. They're like, oh, you're accepting of this? That means that you can move forward with dignity, grace, and pride. You might meet someone else pretty soon. Oh, my goodness. If you stick around, oh, why you break up with him? You become annoying. You become pitiful. When she's calling the ex-boyfriend, that will never work. Respect has been lost. Both of us trust and love each other a lot, but don't know what she'll do bring him back because he broke up with me because of his mom. Question is, does his mom come first? Sounds like she does. Does the mom like you? Why does the mom not want him to be with you? Do you want to become the person the mom wants you to become? Do you see this person changing his relationship with his mom to be with you? If not, time to go into no contact and move forward. I commented on my friend's story with Mac's story. Yeah, you guys have something private going on here. It's better all story. It's very likely that she needs him more than he. Okay. The whole cast thing is stupid, Rob. Well, that's very sensitive of you, Rob. That's very understanding. The whole cast thing's stupid. Okay. You know what? I know about the caste system, but I don't know it in detail. I don't know the history of it. I'm going to take the high road on that. I just don't know. I don't know Indian culture that well. Like I said, I've had a few Indian clients and a few guys that were younger in their 20s, and they told me some things. I'm one of those, if I don't know, I'll tell you. I think there's a lot of value when people that are coaches, therapists, teachers, even if someone's a manager or a boss, when they don't know something and they tell you, I gain respect for people like that. You know what? Actually, I'm not sure about that. And I might ask you a few questions. I just had a live coaching session, and the individual knows a lot about Discords, and he's on YouTube all the time, and he was just talking to me about my channel and some different things. And so I asked him some questions. He doesn't have a YouTube channel. He doesn't do what I do, but I respected his input because he knows about some things I don't know about. People do that here. I've had to deal with some work issues where guys have brought up the caste thing. I will not put up with the sort of things in work environment at all. Well, if you're in Canada and the caste thing comes up, that's kind of counter to the culture of Canadians in a lot of ways, right? I met someone pretty quickly after a breakup, but I still feel crappy. LOL. Well, at least you can laugh about it. You know, when you meet, this is what's interesting after a breakup. You can meet someone right after a breakup, and it's not like, oh, it's doomed because it's a rebound or it's monkey branching. What happens is, no matter what, if you had a good relationship and you were still attracted to that person and you still had love for them, it takes a long time for that to dissipate. And so when you get into the new relationship, let's just say you meet someone new, shape your future, and you meet someone that's highly attractive. So that's a big one right off the bat. Even maybe more attractive to you than your ex. But then the minute that person does something unattractive that your ex did attractive, you start comparing. And you're like, oh, man, like, she can't cook. Oh, I remember when my ex used to just make this, great pot. You know what I mean? And you start going like,
if I'm single, I'm gonna take her.
Right? It's like you start comparing, and it's completely human. And then you go, oh, my ex would have never done that. And then you just start to realize that that's why you were with your ex so long, is because it's hard to find someone that lines up with a lot of things you like. But over time, you'll realize that in the beginning of any new hookup or relationship or dating, how do I describe the beginning of when you start seeing each other? There's things that you're more sensitive to, you know? You're like, oh, man, she's got man's hands, or she's got big feet, or something like that. And over time, those things come less important if you become to get closer. So, if you think back to when you first met your girlfriend, or your ex that you love so much, I bet you could find a few things that you didn't like in the beginning that over time you let go of and it was fine with you. I know that about every time I've dated, except for maybe one girlfriend that I was really into from the beginning. There's something about them in the beginning that you're like, yeah, I don't like that. But then over time, you know, if there's 70 to 80% more good things than bad things, the other things kind of dissipate. I don't think I'm ready for it, to be honest. I still feel guilty for my last breakup. Well, guilt's a big issue. Maybe we got to unpack that in a live coaching session. That's a totally different ballgame. I would say that some people, it's not bad to go on a relationship fast and just go for a month and just go, you know what, I'm going to take a break from women. I'm going to take a break from men. I'm going to take a break from social media, and I'm just going to exercise and journal and read some books and not put that pressure on myself that I have to go meet someone, because a lot of friends just want you to meet someone new. Like, you can just meet someone new because they want you to date again and feel good again. The reality is you need to get in touch with what you want this time. Because if you broke up this last time, there's a good chance that you need a little bit of time to get your thoughts together and think to yourself, what do I want this time? If I had to, a lot of times in your first relationships, it's just attraction. She's hot, he's hot. We have a really good conversation at lunch at work. You didn't really seek out someone that ticked all the boxes. As you get older and you've been through a few relationships, you can strategically think to yourself, okay, this next time I want a girlfriend that goes to the gym regularly. I want a girlfriend that values going to the beach and walking my dog with me, when my last girlfriend just thought it was dirty to get sand in her feet. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can map out what you're looking for first, and then when you start getting back in the dating game, you might be able to find a lot better match because you're not just looking for someone that you're attracted to. I would suspend that person, zero tolerance on racist issue. If you are not healed from an ex relationship, don't date. Good point, Sabina. It takes at least 18 months to heal from a breakup, heartbreak, according to clinical psychology. I would say that that's true in respect to how long the relationship was, Sabina. So I would say it depends on if you were together 3, 5, 8, 9, 10 years. I'd say that's definitely true for long relationships, yeah. I don't know exactly 18 months, but I would say that it's fairly accurate for relationships probably over 2 to 3 years. The thing the couple times, but what I'd add to that, Sabina, is if it's a long distance relationship, I feel like a lot of people can get through those a little bit easier out of a breakup because you weren't with them anyways all the time. The thing that a couple times this caste system was brought up in work-related things were borderline biased, unfair, and not keeping with the concept that we treat all people equally. Man hands. What's up, Derek D? Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to call it a stream, but it's good to see you on deck, my Baltimore friend. All right, folks, that's 45 minutes. I want to wish you well. I want to wish you grand times. Aleph, thanks for joining. It's always a pleasure. Rob IS was active today. In past live streams, he's been a little less active. Sabina, good to hear from you. And who else do we shape my future? Thanks to the $5. I appreciate it. That's kind of you.
Max, so if you have a girlfriend and that her parents would like you to change something, would you like to change? Will you gonna be ready to change of that? Like stop stop drinking.
Stop drinking alcohol?
Yep,
For parents?
for her parents.
Well, first of all, that example, I don't feel like I have an alcohol problem. So I would look at it like, so that's a good question. I don't have an alcohol problem. I'm not an alcoholic. I think friends and colleagues or anyone that know me would be like, yeah, that's true. Because I've never had someone confront me and go, hey, man, right?
You need to stop it.
Yeah,
no?
you need to stop it, right? Like, you need to think about, I think you drink too much, right? So if someone's parents came up with that idea, I'd be like,
You would like to be with my daughter? Could you stop
no,
drinking like
what
that?
my point is, if I think it's a problem or I think it's not good for my girlfriend and I as a couple growing forward, right? So, for example, if they were like, if I had a child with a girlfriend or a wife and I smoked cigarettes, I don't smoke cigarettes. I'm just giving an example. And I smoke cigarettes in the house. Who does that, by the way? But some people still smoke cigarettes in the house. I've seen this before. And the grandparents were like, hey, look, you got to quit smoking cigarettes because you smoke them in the house around the kid. Now, that's something that I would say, you're right. I wouldn't want to, I would like that you brought the problem to my attention, and I agree with you, so I would do it. But I wouldn't do it because the parents told me to. Because then you're a puppet on the string. But I would do it because I thought to myself, you know what, you guys are right. That's disgusting, and it can affect my kids' lungs. But if someone comes to me and says something that I don't agree with, or I don't think's true, or I don't think's a problem, you're setting yourself up for every time those people want to tell you something to do, you go, yeah, okay. So you got, as an adult, if you do something for parents, just expect for them to tell you what to do in the future again and again and again. That's the problem. And I have to feel like, oh yeah, I agree with your assessment. If I don't agree with your assessment and I do it, then over time I'm going to create this contempt for your parents because I feel like subconsciously I did something to please them, which is my fault, but I feel like, oh, I had to do it or else the relationship would be gone. So the answer would be, I would tell the parents, hey, look, I've never had a drinking problem. You're the first people to make this recommendation to myself. I respect the fact that you think alcohol is a problem, and you know what? Alcohol is not always healthy for you. But I've never had a problem. I've never had a drunk driving. So I'm going to have a drink if I want to have a drink. That's how I'd answer it. Good question. Good question. Like I said, when you start letting them do that, then you set the expectation that they can do it any time. But I would say that a way to do it respectfully is the way I just said. Hear what they have, and then explain why you wouldn't adhere to that. But if it's something that you go, you know what, you're right. I need to quit smoking cigarettes. It's disgusting and it's a bad habit for my kid. Then you can, if you're unreasonable about that, just because you don't want to agree with him, then that's bad communication. All right, Alberto Rodriguez, I actually think LDR is harder. You have to convince yourself that it will work daily, imagining them and hoping to see them again, mentally building them in your mind. Okay. I was saying that breaking up in an LDR might be easier in the fact that you don't have to see them. Because you know, there's some people that didn't see their ex regularly anyways. If you live with someone for 5 years, right, compared to having a long distance relationship with 5 years, and I've had clients that have had long distance relationships for 5 years and seen each other 5 times. Okay? You can't tell me that the person that lived with someone for 5 years is not going to feel more lost and disconnected than the person that was in the long distance. I have trouble vibing with that. But that being said, I haven't been there before, so you might be right, Alberto, from experience. I just got out of an LDR relationship, and it's harder than past physical relationships I've had. Alberto, go ahead and send your full story into writemac.com, and maybe I'll unpack it, or let's do a live coaching session together. I was friends with an ex, but I stopped talking to her after she moved in with a male friend she knew for 8 months. Well, obviously, if you were friends with an ex and you got upset because she moved in with a male friend, means that you had a covert contract in your head that you could maybe get her back or hook up. Sometimes alcohol lets out all the emotions when you're grieving. Yeah, that's true. Pioneer Caddy, Philly's finest.
I'm asking you because I think if some parents asking me to stop like that, I don't know how to say with them, because to be honest, I don't think that I'm not alcoholic, but I like to drink, especially to drink with my friend, or I like to be chill. So if someone just asking me to stop drinking, I'm gonna feel like I don't make any problem with even myself.
Well, that's what I mean. Did friends, family, or colleagues, people you respect in your life, tell you the same thing prior to? And then secondly, do you believe it's a problem too? Number 3, has it affected your life?
Yeah.
Right? Like DUI. Like I've got a friend. If you get 3 DUIs and you go, oh, I'm not an alcoholic. Well, you might not be. I've had a client before. He had 3 DUIs. He's like, I'm not an alcoholic, Mac. Okay, but you have a problem with drinking and driving, so you probably shouldn't fucking drink.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe you don't drink every day, but when you do drink, you have no self-control. So you shouldn't drink. And this guy was like, I'm not a fucking alcoholic, but I did quit drinking. So we could call it binge drinking or whatever, but when you know what I mean? And drunk driving is one of those things, a lot of people have done it in their lives. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's actually not good. You can hurt someone very badly. That you know what I mean? So if you have some things that prove the point, like drunk driving, and you're like, I'm not an alcoholic. Yeah, but when you do drink, you make really bad decisions, dude.
Yeah.
Right? Get a drunk driving once and learn from it. People like 2, 3, 4 times and they get in wrecks. Hey, man. Oh, now I gotta drive around, and I've seen people where they had that machine on the fucking wheel. They don't have this in Thailand. In America, they have a machine on the wheel that you have to breathe in before you can drive. You've ever heard of that? It's pretty embarrassing for an adult.
Yeah.
I've had friends that their girlfriends, it's bad. The girlfriend had a car like that, and I'm like, oh, man. So they'll drive the car, and they have to breathe in the thing before the car will start. It's a mechanism to make sure you're not drunk, and the court orders it.
Huh.
Now, if that happens, and the mom or dad's like, hey, you have a drinking problem, they're probably right.
Yeah.
But if you feel like, hey, man, I haven't gotten in trouble, you know, I enjoy having a few drinks, I do my job, you know, I take care of my girlfriend, this and that, then you got to stand up for yourself with respect, and say why. That's the way I look at that. And you got to ask yourself, is it true? That's the thing that you have to be honest with yourself. You don't just fight back to fight back. When someone gives you a critical comment, part of growing up is going, instead of just assuming it's true or assuming it's not true, kind of reflect it for a second and be like, yeah, that's not true. And then you go from there. All right, folks. Drinking and driving versus texting while driving. Oh, they're both bad. Texting while driving is bad, man. I actually honk at people all the time when they text and drive. I think it's a really bad thing. And I've had like once a year where I'll start doing it, I'm like, stop it. Watch the movie 7 Pounds with Will Smith. That's enough said. I mean, that's a good example. 7 Pounds was a great movie. I mean, that alone, I had all my university students watch that movie one term. 7 Pounds with Will Smith. And the whole thing that broke his life was a car accident where he was texting while driving. And it's so possible, it's so much more possible to get in an accident when you text and drive, Pioneer Caddy. I mean, that's a bad one. That's a bad one. Pioneer Caddy says 100. All right, folks, join the Discord. I'm going to start making more effort on the Discord. I just talked to the good friend of mine today. He's like, man, we got to get this Discord on deck a little bit better. And I got to run. Why people sell themselves for a few thousand? Yes, I do. All right, folks, I'll be back on deck soon. Today's tomorrow, most likely. All right, folks, take it easy. It's curtains.